Hello there! Welcome to the video. You'll probably notice I am very, very red. This is not a contrast issue. This is, I went outside for some heavy-duty, long hours in the sun with no sunscreen, because I'm a bit of a dumbass sometimes. It happens to us all. I went to the Ren Fair, kind of further up in my home state, and, you walk around a lot. There's not a lot of tent coverage. You're only in the tents for a few minutes, so you're walking around in the bare blazing sun. There was no cloud coverage, so God's full mighty rays blasted me in the face, and I have received the consequences. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about this news. The Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 game has leaked online. A full playable version of the game leaked online. This takes some twists and turns to this little bit of story, so before we get into it, I do want to address some things real quick. First of all, recently I took like 2 videos and a stream to kind of break away from what I normally cover on this channel into basically politics, which I want to assure my regular audience that's not going to continue. I did it because of the suddenness of the situation that happened with Trump getting, or nearly getting assassinated. That struck home, obviously. I'm an American, the United States. That has a huge impact and potential consequences on my country, and that, you know, and then some other stuff happened within the sphere of content creators I'm within that I covered with Dev, Shorefado Otaku. Feel free to check out the videos and streams involved with that. But that is stuff that I jumped into given the heat of the situation, stuff that was going on. I don't take back anything that I said. 100% stand by everything, but it's not stuff I want to continue covering on the channel, right? This isn't a drama channel. This isn't a news channel. I'm not the Quartering. I'm not, shoot. Take your pick of whatever drama channel you want out there. I'm not going to shame anybody for liking that content, but it's not my bread and butter. It's not something I want to do. So, I'm going to mainly continue to cover news and stuff related to 40K and the hobbies that I enjoy. Continue doing mini painting streams. Continue getting back to what I actually enjoy, the escapism that I love so much. Don't worry though, if stuff happens in the 40K sphere or my sphere of escapism that is, you know, politically driven, I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna call it out and I'm gonna try and gatekeep it out so that the hobby and the escapism can hopefully return to a status of enjoyment, of freedom, of a separation between our pastimes and our enjoyments and our escapism and the politics that tend to ruin that escapism and enjoyment. I want this separation to re-exist. So I will continue to call out that crap, but I don't want to go full politics like I kind of did in a couple of videos. So, got that out of the way. Sorry for taking so much time before we get into the topic. Now let's talk the Space Marine 2 leak. So, this comes from Fandom Pulse. Pro-Ukraine activists try to cancel Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 over Russian involvement as full video game leaks onto the internet. So yeah, I heard of this news from word to mouth from a couple people on my Discord, so shout out to them, and also shout out to Caboose, who sent me the actual footage of people playing the game, which I can't show because, let's face it, that footage is going to get copyright claimed like that. And quite frankly, the guy who uploaded it, dude, I hope they don't try and sue you, but let's be honest, it's on the table. Because I don't know the full extent of the copyright laws in regards to sharing a leaked game. But I do know that as it's not out yet, there's definitely going to be some takedowns. So I'm not going to show it, but just know it does exist on YouTube. There is footage out there of full sections of the game and its playthrough. And from what I've heard, I think this article goes into it, but I'll say it up here just in case it doesn't. I've heard that the build in question that is leaked is from back in February. So it's not indicative of the latest build of the game as of now here in July. So just wanted to throw that out there. So let's get into the article. Very few video games are as hotly anticipated as Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. The game has been in development for years and was pushed back last year so the developers could have extra time to work on polishing the game for consumers. Yes, which normally in the past, delays are always good things, but as Cyberpunk 2077 showed with its launch and other games since then, unfortunately delays do not inherently mean that the game will release good. However, that being said, of the footage I have seen of the game, it looked really smooth. It looked like it was running quite well. So there's that. I do want to throw that out there for anybody curious. And again, feel free to look up the footage if you so choose. It is on YouTube as of right now. But I cannot encourage you guys to look up. Sorry, I'm having twitches, a little bit of issues with my eyes. I cannot encourage you guys to go and find the torrent because that would be piracy. Anyway, the entire game is leaked onto the internet, and as Focus Entertainment attempts to do damage control, pro-Ukraine activists are trying to cancel the game and its developers because of one employee's association with Russia. Yes, that is part of the twists and turns of what led to the game getting leaked. It's not the standard reason where it's like, oh, a reviewer got it early and then they got a little spicy and decided to throw it up online, and then obviously that would lead to trouble. That tends to be where a lot of leaks happen, or sometimes it's just some suspicious leaks that have no definitive sources, and usually you can chalk those up to the devs themselves leaking it, just because they're worried that people aren't necessarily really buying the advertisement. They're trying to really get people to buy it, so that's a bit more of like an internal conspiracy theory type thing, though. But this one, like, we pretty much have, is like pro-Ukraine activists have taken credit for releasing it. And the reasons are, I won't say they're strange. I guess they do make sense internally, but it's a whole weird situation. At least it reads weird to me. But feel free to tell me in the comments. Does this read weird to you guys as well? Or is this, yeah, this fits. But pro-Ukraine activists are trying to cancel the game and its developers because of one employee's association with Russia. The original Space Marine is one of the most beloved sci-fi shooters to come out of video games. That is true. And it's actually a source of a lot of people getting into 40K, weirdly enough. That and Dawn of War got a huge, kind of a subsect of a generation into 40K. So we have a lot to thank those two games. Like Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 2. And then you have Space Marine. Like, those games really got people a taster of this hobby and of this sphere. And of this enjoyment that we've all kind of delved into and probably delved way too much into financially. So, yeah, that cannot be, especially in regards to 40K, that cannot be understated. It was true to Warhammer 40,000 lore while featuring exciting gameplay as an Ultramarine. It wasn't fully true to 40K lore. There's actually quite a few contradictions, but relatively, it was fairly true to 40K lore. Demetrian Titus, as he fights off orcs and the forces of chaos. In the new Space Marine 2 game, it's been revealed that the Ultramarines will be fighting the Tyranids, and the forces of chaos will return. Yes, I saw some screenshots. I don't know if it's in the leaked footage, so feel free to tell me in the comments for those who've seen the whole thing, or have yo-ho me hearty yo-ho'd their way to experiencing that segment of the game. But from what I've seen, it appears that the hype of Chaos Marines that we're going to be fighting, they looked like they were Thousand Suns. I saw like a couple screenshots of that and a couple of clips of that in the official trailers for the game. So I don't know if that was just like multiplayer things we saw, or if those are going to be like the specific Chaos Marines that we encounter. I'm curious if that's the case, or if we're just going to encounter like all manner of Chaos Marines. It'll be curious to see. But fans of the game have been eagerly awaiting its release since it was supposed to come out in October 2023. Still, the developers at the time said they were holding the game back and reworking it, taking their time for an extra year of polish to make sure the game was as smooth and as good as possible before release. That's always what they should do, and again, track record-wise for the AAA industry, it hasn't quite been doing that lately. But hopefully that is actually the case in this. And again, the build I saw looked like it was running pretty smoothly. There was supposed to be an open beta test for the game, but that was also canceled so that developers could focus on what needed to get done on the game, according to Focus Entertainment. Now, just 2 months before the game is supposed to be released, the entirety of the game leaked online. Many videos of gameplay surfaced, which fans said was a little buggy, and had some awkward screens at points. That is true. From the footage I saw, one of the visual bugs I saw in a clip I saw was there was a reload on a bolt pistol, and in the reload, the magazine is discharged, tossed aside, but the character continued to move and fight, and you could see the magazine floating off in the corner. It hadn't, like, the animation hadn't trickled it away. Like, it was still there. So, again, the build that we've seen, though, the devs have said that was from February. That's not representative of their current build. These gameplay videos have gotten removed nearly as quickly as they caught up. True, and some of the footage I saw was only recently uploaded as of this recording. By the time if I refresh those pages, they're probably gone. But an active Reddit community is discussing the game. Focus Entertainment stated on X, "We are deeply touched by the overwhelming support we've received from our community following the leak of an old build of our upcoming game, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Our teams have poured years of hard work, passion, and dedication into creating a game worthy of your hopes and expectations, and it's disheartening that many of the surprises we worked to keep secret were spoiled. We're saddened that this build, which will be almost a year old by the time we launch, is how some of our most eager fans will first experience Space Marine 2. Yes, and that's this is their whole statement here. I'll read the whole statement just to make sure we get it all here. So we are deeply touched by the overwhelming support we have received from the community following the leak of the old build of our game, Space Marine 2. Team support users. I'm just trying to look for like new stuff. Yeah, and this is the rest of it because that quote only touched up to this line. But our unwavering commitment has been to deliver the best possible game for our players. That was the driving force behind our decision to spend more time on development and ensure we deliver the best experience we can. We're asking everyone to avoid this unfinished build and to not spoil the game for those excited to experience it for the first time at launch. Space Marine 2 will release on September 9th, and the best way to support our team's hard work is to play the game as they've always intended. See you all in a few weeks. For the Emperor." So yes, remember guys, don't pirate the game. That is entirely illegal. Sorry, my Twitch is back. Do not pirate. That is wrong. That hurts so many people and developers. Do not look that up. Wait for the release. Okay, I fixed my Twitch. So anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves there. So anyway, indeed, after research, it appears that this iteration of the game was released on February 23rd, 2024. So many months of polish could have been added to it since then, and likely have been. The leaked game build is about 75 gigabytes and fully playable, including server binaries, which allow friends to play in co-op or PvP modes if they have access. Yeah, it's basically a full release version, more or less, but just not as much polish. While it seems obvious it would be best not to play an unpolished build of the game, some fans couldn't wait because of all the anticipation. But others are actively trying to cancel Space Marine 2. In response to the X thread, pro-Ukrainian activists flooded the replies to attack Focus Entertainment. Quote, "Explain what the hell is this man doing in your team? Are you supporting his hate speech or what?" You guys know how I feel about hate speech. One X user said, posting several screenshots of a Russian programmer involved with the game, including one where he allegedly said Ukraine part of Russia, as if that in and of itself is a reason to cancel Space Marine 2. I have to agree with the tone of this article writer. Like that's not really a fair reason to cancel a whole game. Like there's other things that definitely, like if the story is unfaithful to 40K, fair enough to cancel the game and boycott it. If the story is actually propagating IRL politics at you, yeah, totally, don't get the game at that point. Like if it's not 40K, it's not faithful, it's not an opera, and if it's a buggy as shit game that barely works on release, all those are reasons to not support a game and not get it. One lone programmer making a single comment like this, I get it if you're Ukrainian, I suppose, but for the rest of us who aren't Ukrainian and aren't Russian, it's none of our business. So yeah, this shouldn't really affect whether you get into it or not. Like, it's strange. But yeah, apparently this is the developer in Crescent Triangle. And this is what they said in Russian. If you guys speak Russian and read Russian, feel free to translate it for what it's supposed to say here or not. But apparently the translation is over here. It's in response to somebody basically asking... actually, here's a better screenshot of it. How come there is no country? The most real sovereign country is Ukraine. Or are you Ukrainophobe? I didn't even know that was a word, but Ukrainophobe, yeah. And the response from this developer and programmer, he said, Ukraine, part of Russia. Ooh. Really throwing some spice in there, aren't we? But yeah, this is apparently like proof of their involvement in the programming. And other users have been kind of chiming in saying, you have got what you deserve for working with Russians from terrorist state, and similar things like that. again, I'm not gonna tell, like, if you are Ukrainian and this is enough for you, so be it. You know, I'm not gonna tell you no. Like, but for the rest of the world, especially if you're like in America or the UK, it's not really our business, that whole conflict over there. I mean, if you are Ukrainian heritage, again, that still applies. But again, if you're from anywhere else and have no connections to the place and to the conflict there, it's a stupid reason not to get into the game. There's so many other reasons why you wouldn't get into the game. Like, it's buggy, it's not faithful to 40k, anything like that. But one programmer doing his job, he's not even one of the story writers. It's not like he's going to write in an allegory for the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and make the Ukrainians out to be something or whatever. He's only programming it. He's writing the code. It's hardly anything substantial. But yeah, another person said, okay, but what about the controversy behind one of the developers and you guys canceling beta? That's in response to their putting up this statement on X. That's not a good sign. Is the quote-unquote unfinished build the actual game was going to be like at launch? That's the general... again, it's more of a legitimate question. Well, again, not to say legitimate, but it's more of a substantive question for the rest of us that aren't from the Ukraine or Russia or aren't involved in that conflict. And again, technically, yes, like the current build that people are accessing right now would have been if they had launched way back when. It probably is closer to what that build would have been. But is it close to the build that they're planning on releasing? Well, given the number of months between now and February, and actually between February and the actual release, which is September, that's a lot of time to polish up the game. And again, the footage I saw looked pretty smooth. So if they just put in 6 months to 5 months worth of polishing all the problems I saw in the leaked footage I encountered, the game should be fucking baller. It should be absolutely fantastic. So, I don't know. Whether the current build is indicative of that old launch doesn't really matter. What matters is have they fixed it up from there. And from what I saw, it didn't look too bad. So the attempt to cancel a Russian programmer is insane, but indicative of how the woke cancel mob always operates. I gotta use Fandom Pulse more often. They are actually pretty cool writers for their articles. A person should be allowed to have their personal opinions about their own country's war without fear of losing their livelihood because of random foreigners trying to harass a company hiring them. True. And that being said, if what's said is true and the leakers were Ukrainian themselves, then I can get it from their personal perspective. It's just from everybody else. It's like, if you're American born, you have no ties to Ukraine in terms of your family lineage, and you're getting hot and bothered about it, you shouldn't. It has nothing to do with you. Like, absolutely nothing to do with you. Now, people are going to make, like, pseudo-political arguments about, like, the grand impact of all this. Yeah, but is the leaking or not leaking of this game going to impact the Ukraine war? No. Like, Space Marine 2, leaked or unleaked, has zero impact on the conflict. All you do is... all you do is steal the potential profits, and that would pay for a lot of the salaries of people working on the game at Saber Interactive and otherwise for making a good quality game. And as far as I know, Saber Interactive aren't Russian. Let me look that up before I'm too confident about that. No, Saber Interactive is an American video game developer. So one programmer who's not Ukrainian, who's Russian, and everybody else gets fucked over, that's entirely psychotic. And also unfair. And all of it to achieve nothing for the conflict affecting your home. If you're one of the Ukrainian activists, this does nothing. You wasted your energy and time that could be going towards aiding in the conflict legitimately to harassing one guy and the livelihood of many others attached to a video game. Okay. Thankfully, Focus Entertainment has ignored the calls to cancel their programmers. Thank God. They remain focused, pun intended, on the gameplay, with developers and story leads posting design diaries about how they've been reading the Black Library material so they could get the story of the game right. Hopefully, they're not reading anything released too recently. It's refreshing to see a third-party developer caring about the source material and maintaining the lore, which bodes well for Space Marine 2 when it does release. So that is the coverage about the Space Marine 2 leak, and yeah, took a few twists and turns there, but yeah, it's got leaked, and that is effectively acting as a beta, I suppose, for some people. I don't know. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But one thing I will say is, in a sense, the leak can be a good thing. Again, I'm not supporting anybody look up the game torrent or download it. That would be totally wrong and morally reprehensible. Sorry, the Twitch came back. No, that regardless of that, this could actually be good because a lot of people like myself are boycotting Games Workshop products right now. And technically speaking, this isn't a direct Games Workshop product. They are receiving royalties, obviously, from the usage of the IP for the game. But the vast majority of any money raised from sales of this game are going to Saber Interactive and the publisher of the game. So, that being said, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money. If you are like me and you're not happy with what GW have been doing with Warhammer, if you're very upset with the Femstody situation and their clear disregard for the lore that they themselves have been developing over years and years, this might not affect you in any sense. You may not be interested in getting the game at all. For me, I've stated this on a previous Voxwork podcast episode, but I'll reiterate it here. For me, I'm willing to give the game a shot, but only after release and after official reviews from people I trust. Because there's two elements that need to be absolutely present for me to give this game a shot and buy it. One of those being it can't be propagating the current woke lore. It can't be propagating the Femstody's crap. It can't be hinting at female Space Marines. It can't be doing any of that. And for me, that is, like, I want 40k. I don't want a political springboard in which people can slap me in the face with messaging that I don't give a damn about, that doesn't belong in 40k, and that wasn't in 40k 20 years ago. I don't want that, and any real fan of 40k doesn't want to get preached at either. We want 40k, and we want the politics within 40k and the universe of 40k, but we don't want our politics being preached back at us. We don't want the universe rewritten for ideologies and sensibilities of the modern day. Fuck that. Give me 40k or give me nothing. And I stand by that. So for me, this doesn't affect me one way or the other right now. I still need to watch more of the footage of the story for me to really tell if I'm going to get it or not. I will say, though, if that and the game isn't buggy as shit on release, I will be getting the game. I will invest my money into it. If either of those two things are not true, if it's super woke and it's springboarding messages at me, or it is a buggy piece of shit, I will not be getting the game. That's as easy as pie for me to say. So let me know what you guys think, though. Are you completely boycotting and you will not support whatsoever? And if so, can't blame you. I understand. But, we will not support no matter what. Or are you not really caring too much about that? If the game looks solid enough, feels 40k enough, you're not really going to let the other stuff bother you too much, and you're going to get the game. Have you seen the footage? Has it convinced you to pick it up officially? Or are you just satisfied with, and again, it's wrong, but are you satisfied with just the leaked version that you've received or found or whatever? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe if you're new to the channel and you like 40k, you like tabletop games, you like any of that stuff, you like mini painting. Subscribe and check out more of the content. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.